Welcome back to another edition of the Washington Nationals here on OOTP 27. And as you can see, we are approaching the 2032 trade deadline. It is July 29th. We just have this one series left here at Toronto to end out July. So it's time to actually take a look at what we want to acquire here at the deadline. And I gotta be honest, I don't really think it's that obvious because I feel like we have our playoff rotation in-house. We don't really have anybody we can push out. It's not like previous years where we don't have like an ace. I feel like we have two guys who could be considered an ace. Jerry Harris absolutely is that type of guy now. Dax Hardcastle has even proven to be that type of guy for us. Shane Rodemaker going through a bit of a rough patch at the moment. You can see he's got a cold sign. But overall, we trust him. And then it could be any number of Rouse, Flory, maybe Lodolo figures it out. He's currently in the bullpen because he's been struggling. But, maybe it could be another starter, but I just don't really feel like the need to pick up another starter because I feel like I'd be fine starting any number of our guys as the fourth playoff starter. So I just don't think arms is really somewhere we need to acquire anything, especially with how deep our depth is at the AAA and AA levels. And then when you take a look at the hitting side of things, I just don't really think there's any obvious holes. I think the only thing that could possibly be an option for us is maybe picking up a player who could platoon with Brady Ebel as the first baseman, so we can only play him against righties. We don't have to play him against lefties. Right now, we're not even playing Mark Martin against lefties, although maybe we should, even though he hasn't really proven that he should be starting for us. So maybe getting Mark Martin down to AAA and putting someone at his spot to platoon with Ebel at first base and also give us some, depth, power, solid middle-of-the-order hitting. If there's a player like that out there, aside from there being some all-world player on the block that we need to go out and get with some of our high prospects, I just don't really see the most obvious need here. So a guy we can platoon at first base is probably what we're going to pick up here. And we're probably not going to make any huge swings at this deadline unless there's somebody on the block that really stands out. There's some 55s, but is Travis Bazzana going to move the needle for us that much? Probably not. Is Mason Wynn going to move the needle that much for us as a defense first only player? No. Wilfredo Antunes? Maybe, I guess. He's also a lefty too, so he wouldn't even really fill that Brady Ebel role, even though he does have some decent pop against lefties, but the other stuff very much regressed. Very much worse than it is against righties as a left-handed bat. So, not really sure he's the option. William Contreras, maybe. Probably not, though. So yeah, there's just not really any obvious bats to go after here when you're looking at 55-plus guys. But I guess there's some 50 dudes here. There's a veteran Pete Alonso. I guess he could come in and fill that Spencer Torkelson role for us, but he hasn't really been great either. I guess he's been okay-ish. Not really hitting for power this year. Does he even start for them? It doesn't look like 4 and 3 plate appearances. I guess his power numbers are just gone. His home run to fly ball rate is 32 percentile. That's not great. There's Seiya Suzuki out there. If this was 4 years ago, maybe I might be interested in him. But right now, his percentile ranking's not good. He's old. His ratings still look decent, but probably not somebody we're looking to pick up here. Maybe Bryce Harper could be an option. He's currently with the Mariners on a 1-year deal for $7.2 million. They're promising a starting role. He's going to be platooning against us. It doesn't make much sense to really have a lefty platooning against left-handers, but if anybody could do it, he could be the guy. He's got the eye. He's got still decent gap power, BABIP. It doesn't go down too much, really at all, really, against lefties. And then he could still provide some bench hitting against right-handed pitching. And he's even just recently last year had a 3-win season. So It's not like he's totally washed. He's got an around league average WRC plus this year. His percentile rankings still look pretty good. And the Mariners are 52-52, 9 games out of the West Division, and they have multiple teams in front of them here in the wild card, so they're absolutely a team that would be looking to trade somebody like Bryce Harper. I can't imagine. Yeah, they definitely don't have him on a no trade, so Bryce Harper might be the option to acquire for us here as a leader, too. That could help us. Although William Contreras could be possible. Could be more interesting, though, as a right-handed bat who hasn't really ever played first base like his brother has, but could be interesting. I don't love the percentile rankings. He's kind of like a Harry Ford type bat, but I mean, we could just use more ducks on the pond. That's never a bad thing. And he's still a really good catcher, too, is the thing. So maybe that, but that would just eat into Harry Ford's playing time. I mean, he'd definitely be a bad first baseman. What is Texas even looking like, anyways? Yeah, they're second place. They're 7.5 out of the division, but they're only a half game out of a wild card spot. Like, all these teams are really, really close. Or I guess the Mariners are only 2 games out. Maybe the Mariners wouldn't trade Harper because they're only 2 games out, and all these teams are so close. So maybe they wouldn't trade Harper. But also at the same time, it's like, hey man, you've got him on the block. So if he's on the block, I feel like he's fair game. Just while looking at prospects to possibly trade here at the deadline, I happened to come across Josh Springer here, who was a second-round pick for us in 2031. Good lord, he has torn up A-ball this season. Him and Luke Korcha are just destroying the Carolina League. 4.5 WAR. I mean, I didn't feel like he was ready to get called up, but I mean, he has had a phenomenal season here in A-ball at 23 years old. We'll probably let him finish the year out there and just dominate, probably win the MVP, either him or Korcha. And then next year, he definitely will start the season in the Eastern League with AA Harrisburg. And he might be on the fast track towards the big leagues at some point for us. I think we're going to do this trade. We're going to pick up Bryce Harper from the Mariners, who are still technically in it in the wild card in their American League. But they've got him on the block. He's an expiring contract, obviously. He's unhappy because of his role on the team, I guess. Probably going to be unhappy with his role on the team in here as well. But, it is what it is. He's a high leader. He's going to be helping us in the locker room, helping us with the bat, helping us just all around. Feel like he's a decent pickup as a bench player for us, and a guy who's going to play against lefties a decent amount as well. And then, somebody could get hurt and he could play first base for us. Who knows? But Bryce Harper, we're going to trade him we're going to pick him up, and then we're going to give them Khalil Watson, who is a useful player. He's somebody who really can only hit against righties, but he just has no spot in our team here. Zahir Hope's the 4th outfielder. We don't have a spot for him at the big league level. He did come up for a little bit this season, barely played, and that was his first taste of the big leagues since 2028, where he also barely played. So, I mean, he's really never gotten a chance, and he's just raked in AAA. He's done nothing but crush AAA pitching for years and years and years and years, all the way back to 2025, and has just never gotten a chance anywhere. So if he's going to get a chance anywhere, it's going to be on this Seattle team to where he can play all 3 outfield positions really well. And they've got Randy Arozarena, who's a 45, Jacob Young, who's a 45, and Tunez, who's a 55. He's not going to play right field, and then Jordan Walker, who's a 45. And that's what their outfield situation looks like. So Khalil Watson going to come in there, help them in the outfield. They get a guy who can help them. We get a guy who can help us. Khalil Watson can't be the role that we're looking for because he's 5'9", and can't hit against lefties. So it doesn't really help us out there. And he helps them. Bryce Harper helps us. We are going to do that. We're going to lock this in. Boom. Trade for an all-star, apparently, because we traded for Bryce Harper. Man, is it tempting to try to make a run on Tarek Skubal here as a expiring contract. $51 million, but the Rays are retaining 50% of this. He's been with Texas. I guess they traded for him in the offseason. Yeah, in the offseason, he's been really good. And it's like they've got him on the block, so it's like we could take a run at him, but I just think they're too close in the wild card to really make a trade like this. I mean, these are the three wildcard teams. They're a half game back. They get a positive run differential. I just don't think it makes sense for them to trade Tarek Skubal here. So we're not going to make a run at Tarek Skubal. However, Felix Bautista, who is not the best personality class, but is a fantastic reliever, we could possibly do something where we pick up him and maybe Connor Prelip finally gets released and we just have like true Matamoros, Bautista, Herrera, Hollick, Ortiz, Sime, Rodriguez, Lodolo's been really good in the bullpen. Just true, like we have the best bullpen of all time level stuff. It's interesting because the Cardinals are below 500, negative run differential, and they are here. They're 3 games back, so I guess they are still in it. But I mean, like, they're negative run differential. They've got him on the block. He's a reliever. Those are the types of guys you trade. So if I'm tempted, I am tempted. He's been nothing but just a journeyman sort of what's the word I'm looking for here? Mercenary sort of contract guy. I'm assuming this is all just 1-year deals. Traded to St. Louis. So I guess he signed a 2-year deal. They had him for 1 year, then they traded him in exchange for absolutely nothing. Like they got this guy for Felix Bautista. I mean, yeah, I feel like we could definitely pick up Felix Bautista. I don't care that he's 37. He's an expiring free agent. It wouldn't even be for that much money because the Mets are retaining 45% of what he has. He's been phenomenal this year. I feel like that might be the move here because there's, aside from Tarek Skubal, there's no real starters that really move the needle. Not that we need to pick up a starter anyways, but I feel like making the bullpen even better. He is a no trade. He is a no trade. He doesn't want to come here. Why? Because he can't close? You don't want to win games? You don't want to be a pitch in the playoffs, Felix? Cool. Good stuff. Well, there is also Porter Hodge and Cade Smith. Cade Smith on this Phillies team that is just hemorrhaging losses at this point. They're minus 48. They're in 4th place. They're definitely not trying to keep on with their players. He had a really good year last year. He's been really good historically. But this year, the ERA not so great. But the FIP has been fantastic. So it's not like he's pitching terribly. He's also way better personality than Felix Bautista. Also did not realize that he's a Hawaii guy. Did not realize that. That's cool. But yeah, he could be an interesting player. He's also expiring contract. There's also Porter Hodge, who is not an expiring contract. And that's cool that he's now with the White Sox. Previously with the Cubs, while the White Sox are they're still in it. Yeah, they're still in it. They're not going to try to trade him. But the Phillies, on the other hand, they're way the hell down here. 7 games, all these teams in front of them. I think Cade Smith is going to be somebody we try to pick up here. We're going to try to do that super juiced bullpen idea. He has a no trade too? What is with these AI teams giving these guys no trade clauses? Yeah, so I think that's all we're going to do at the deadline, is we're just going to pick up Bryce Harper. Hopefully he can help us the rest of the way, and we are going to just play with what we have. I don't think we need to pick up any starters. There wasn't really anything too interesting on the block anyways. A lot of injured old guys, really. As we look at the starting pitchers here on the trading block, it's Tarek Skubal is the only interesting one. We've determined that Texas is just too in it to really make that trade. And then it's like wrecked Blake Snell, Framber Valdez, who's not really going to move the needle for us. Dylan Cease, who's fragile and also not going to move the needle for us. Luis Garcia, who's wrecked. This Bryce Mayer guy, who's an arbitration guy with Arizona. Like, what is Arizona looking like? They are terrible. And, like, how into arbitration is this guy? 4 years? So, yeah, I guess he's close to free agency. But he's put together back-to-back 2-win seasons. He's an okay player. his ratings don't stand out to me. Like, I just don't think he's better than anybody we have. So I just don't feel like picking up a guy like that. Parker Messick, expiring free agent, like, he's okay. He had that 1 year in 2029 where he was, like, really, really good. Aside from that, has never really done anything like that. Landon Rapp, I know who this is, just not really sure how you pronounce it. I'm pretty sure it's Roop. But he's been decent, pretty good. Pretty good the past 3 years, but the percentile rankings aren't great right now. I don't think he's also not an expiring contract, and I don't think he's worth picking up. Justin Steele, wrecked. Bunch of injured old guys. Zach Wheeler, Mike Burrows is fragile, also not tradable for because he's out for the whole season. DeGrom, wrecked. Reed Detmers, normal. Percentile rankings aren't really that great. Shane Drohan, yeah, not going to move the needle for us. Jacob Lopez, out for 7 to 8 weeks. Ryan Weiss, not good percentile rankings. George Klassen, once again, not going to move the needle. Michael Knorr, not going to move the needle. Nick Pavetta is an old guy who's not going to move the needle. Alonzo Treadwell won't move the needle. Good name, though. And then we're down to the 45s, where it's like wrecked, or not wrecked. Actually, Pablo Lopez is actually normal injury proneness, but not good anymore. But yeah, just nobody's going to move the needle for us. And then when you look at the relievers, it was just those 3 guys, and then Porter Hodge is too close to the wild card. I don't want to trade for him. And he's also not an expiring contract, so we don't want to add him to the team. He's also been terrible this season, so not trying to pick up that. And nobody else really moves the needle for me here. There's Matt Brash. We could try to reacquire him as like a cool story, but he's also a guy who's not expiring here. And he's no longer the guy he once was. He's down to a 25 stamina. His percentile rankings aren't good, so he's just not what he used to be. And there's nothing really else here that really stands out. I mean, George Kirby's out there in free agency, or out there on the block. He's been terrible with the Yankees. Yeah, he's expiring, but he's been terrible. But it could be interesting, maybe we trade for him, bring him in here, we get rid of Connor Prelip, who has started to slip as a reliever, isn't getting his job done, so maybe he comes in and fills that Connor Prelip role, and we get rid of Connor Prelip finally, and we bring George Kirby back as a potential arm to have in the bullpen, and maybe as a starter if we need him to. I mean, he's still got some decent percentile rankings here for like the hard hit percentage, the O-swing, walk percentage. Still throwing decently hard. He kind of seems to me like a guy who might tick up in the rotation. So one of those weird guys who usually guys tick up when they go to the bullpen, but he's one of these not great stuff guy who's probably worse in the bullpen than he is in the rotation. And it looks like he's just getting thrashed at Yankee Stadium. Like, he's just given up way, way, way too many home runs. We could just give them Connor Prelip. We could just swap Connor Prelip for George Kirby. I think cool, let's do that. Why not? They offer an overpaid veteran, but they're both expiring contracts, you dumbass assistant GM. Now I'm interested to see what Connor Prelip would get. Yeah, nothing really interesting aside from George Kirby. So, I'm tempted. I think we're going to do it. I think we're going to do Connor Prelip for George Kirby. Why not? Connor Prelip to the Yankees. Maybe he'll be better for them. Maybe George Kirby will be able to figure it out with us. Although, Connor Prelip does have some decent percentile rankings. He's still useful-ish. Yeah, why not? George Kirby, Connor Prelip, let's lock it in. Complete the trade. Boom. He's back. George Kirby back in Washington. And I think that is going to be the only 2 moves we make. Bryce Harper and George Kirby join our team here at the deadline. So yeah, that's what we're rocking with here. Harris, Hardcastle, Rodemaker, Rouse, Flory as the rotation. The bullpen remains what it is. George Kirby in a long relief / middle relief, not long relief, long relief / middle relief role. And then Bryce Harper is going to be a bench player against righties, and then he's starting against lefties at first base. And yeah, that's going to be what the team's looking like here. We are currently 58-46, 3.5 games as part of the Mets. Let's see where we are at the end of the season. Oh man, we had a 21-game streak without allowing a run for Miguel Cime Jr. finally come to an end here on September 10th. Yeah, September 10th, in a 12-8 loss to the Miami Marlins. He comes in, 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 run. So I guess he gave up a home run, blew the save in a horrible Brian Fleury start. But yeah, I mean, he has been incredible this season. He's got a 1.03 ERA in 52 1/3 innings, and that's after the what was it? I already forget. It was 21 games without giving up a run. I mean, pretty insane stuff. Alrighty, folks, we have reached the end of the 2032 campaign, and as you can see, our Washington Nationals have handedly won the NL East division, 97-65 on the season, well in front of the other teams. A plus 237 run differential for our Washington Nationals, win 97 games, and we were -9 on the Pythagorean. The Pythagorean has it 106 wins, but we did not win an extra inning game all year long. You know, if this was real life and you were plugged in every day as like a fan on Instagram or Twitter or whatever platform of your choosing, that would have been like the number one thing getting memed all year long, was the fact that we never won an extra inning game the whole season. And we went 12-25 in one-run games. I mean, that is just ridiculous. And then even with that, we still win 97 games. Crazy, crazy year. That is absolutely the best run differential in Major League Baseball, the second highest being plus 170 of the Baltimore Orioles, who have had back-to-back insane seasons over there in the American League East. And then taking a look at our team stat page here, you could see just month by month, April got off to an okay start and then just ramped it up from there. 17-10, 14-12, 15-11, 17-10, 18-8, and then 2 games in the regular season in October. Lots of single-digit stuff all over the place. Once again, striking out, not stealing bases, not base running well, but aside from that, the offense was humming this season. First in OPS, first in WAR, first in WOBA, the second most runs scored in the National League, third in hits, first in extra base hits. I believe home runs was 7th when we did the check-in on July 11th. And as you can see, finished with 200 on the dot, second in the National League. And then, of course, we walk a ton as well. Well, over on the pitching and defense side of things, the best ERA in the National League, the second best starters, the best bullpen. You know how we do it. First runs allowed, first in WAR. Hits allowed, opponent's average, third in BABIP, first in least amount of home runs, second in least amount of walks, and the 5th most strikeouts as a staff, while second and first in the zone rating and defensive efficiency. And before we take a look at what the team did, there are a couple players on the IL that we need to go over, one of them being Evan Hollick, who unfortunately had 2 injuries here at the end of the season, both of them elbow inflammation. He also had a mild shoulder strain at one point this season, which is not good. He had elbow inflammation a couple of years ago as well as shoulder inflammation. So Evan Hollick, the arm's starting to get a bit not great at the moment, so we're hoping that he's not going to have any long-term issues. It's just like a one-season thing, but he was very good for us with a 2-win season as a stopper with 105 2/3 innings pitched, with the league leading 25 holds and 34 shutdowns respectively. Then we also had Edwin Alcia, who tore his rotator cuff. Basically the first season for us, or actually the first. He's had some decent seasons for us, but was actually pretty good for us this year, and of course, tears his rotator cuff. He will not be pitching in the postseason for us. And then also George Kirby had a hamstring strain, which put him out for a couple months, so he came over from the Yankees at the deadline, pitched 12 2/3 innings through 5 games, was really good, and hamstring strain keeps him out for the rest of the season. So unfortunately, we will not be seeing George Kirby in the postseason. And then same goes for Melvin Jimenez, as he was doing very, very well as our backup catcher for Harry Ford. But once again, the injury bug bit him again. So he had the strained oblique earlier this season. He had a fractured thumb. And now he's got another multi-week injury in a sprained ankle. But taking a look at the rest of the arms here in Washington, the rotation 1 to 5, we had Jerry Harris in that one spot. He ended up with a 1.8 win, above replacement, wins above replacement in the pitching side of things, and then a 2.9 on the hitting side of things. So all around, really solid season. The bat is a bit more advanced right now than the arm, but the arm was very good. He missed a bunch of time this year. Unfortunately, was not able to get a full year of two-way dominance, but when he did play, he was really, really good. And he's our one starter heading into the playoffs. It might be Dax Hardcastle going first game. We'll have to see, but both of them are on fire right now. As Dax Hardcastle, you can see, put up a 4-win season, 2.22 ERA with a 3.08 FIP. I mean, he was fantastic. As we thought, last year was really, really good in the bullpen for us. We gave him a chance in the rotation this season, and then he has now solidified himself as a legit dude for us in the bullpen. And remember, we extended him in the offseason, so we've got him locked up to a very team-friendly deal, as he was phenomenal for us this year. The man out of Stockton, California, former 12th round pick for us. And then there was Shane Rodemaker, by far his worst season he's had with us here in the big leagues, but still a serviceable arm to have. The control down to 55, which is very unfortunate because that's a huge part of him being a good pitcher. I don't think he's going to be, the Shane Rodemaker he was in 2031 anymore. But, we've only got him for 2 more seasons guaranteed, and that's why we gave him all these team options. Because if he wasn't going to keep pitching like that, then we don't have to worry about these last 2 years. We could just opt out, and we will not have to pay him the full 13.5, and then obviously neither the 16 million year either. And then the rest of the rotation, you had Alex Rouse. He was really good, spent the first half of the season in the bullpen for us, and he was quite good in that role, mainly with the ERA, but then came into the rotation and was solid there as well in 20 starts, first taste of the rotation at the big league level. He was solid, and we're hoping that he can continue to pitch well for us as a possible starter or reliever in this postseason. We'll have to see who we decide to start and who we decide to be in the bullpen. But for now, moving on to Brian Fleury, who was the 5th starter to end the season. He got 24 starts at the big league level and ended up putting together a pretty good campaign. 2-win season. We'll take it. He's up to a 50. Unfortunately, the potential's now down to a 55. I think it was a 60. Yeah, it was a 60 earlier, but now back down to a 55. He's had some minuses, but overall, still looking good. Still a good player. Some decent percentile rankings here, especially with the exit velos and the walk percentages and the expected ERA. Limits contact, as we like to see with a lot of our starters. And he was solid for us, so hopefully he can continue to pitch well. And then in the bullpen, we had Bobby Matamoros, was a fantastic closer for us this season. 2-win year with 43 2/3. Did not quite pitch as many games as he did last year in just like a setup higher leverage role, where this year he was like the exclusive 9th inning, you're the closer guy, because that's what he expects to be. And he gets 32 saves. So solid year for him as he continues to be dominant at the back end of the bullpen. Wellington Herrera was really good. He put together a 2-win year. Improved from last year where he was already really good. His ERA improved, his FIP improved, his WHIP was a bit worse, but the K- walk jumped quite a bit, the strikeout rate jumped, the walk rate went down, and the home run rate went down as well. So the BABIP went up, but overall, very, very good year for Wellington Herrera in a high leverage role. Robinson Ortiz, unfortunately, is currently pending leg injury. We don't know if that's going to take him out of the playoffs or not, but overall, he had another good season for us as a 32-year-old veteran, as a left-hander. And then we had Miguel Sime Jr., who we talked about, had a 21-game straight appearance without allowing a run. He pitched 64 innings in 60 games and was really, really good. He's only a 45 overall, but he's developing finally. He's 25. His percentile rankings look incredible. He strikes out a ton of guys. He doesn't walk anybody, even with 40 control. Limits the home runs decently well. I mean, he was fantastic. Very good player for us. Nick Lodolo, unfortunately, was not good for us in the rotation or in the bullpen, really. Definitely a bummer to see that. He might not end up on the postseason roster. Jose Rodriguez, once he moved into a middle relief / setup role, really solidified himself in the bullpen as kind of like a swingman between the high leverage and middle relief guys. And he put up a 2.10 ERA plus, which is a sub-2 ERA and a 2.84 FIP with a really good strikeout percentage. Doing his thing. He walks a decent amount of the guys, but he does strike out a ton, and it's just a very effective reliever to have who has nasty, nasty stuff at the fastball, curveball, changeup mix for us. And then we also brought up Kevin Yoder at the end. He did not get the pitch in the big league team. Mateo Reyes pitched 2 innings, did not go well in those 2 innings, but he's, somebody who very much is a part of the plan for the future here in Washington. And then as far as the other guys who pitched in the big leagues to end the season, Eric Agro might end up on the postseason roster here. He had 6 games, 8 2/3, and was phenomenal. He's a guy who his ratings are already starting to come into place here, and the potentials look even better with that 80 grade potential control and 70 potential movement, plus this stuff. I mean, man, he could be really, really special for us as a high leverage reliever, if not maybe a starter if we can get the stamina up. Although the hold runners is very, very concerning if he's going to pitch, a ton of innings as a starter. We also had Josh Yorkin up in the big leagues to end the season. The ratings or the stats did not go well, but he was really, really good in AAA after 2 really good seasons in AA. So we rewarded him with a call-up, and he pitched in the bullpen in like a long relief, avoid high leverage role. As you can see, the stats were not great. He's not going to be in the postseason roster, but still very much a part of our plans here in the future. We also gave Matt Pilkington a little bit of time in the big leagues here. He got 9 innings through 3 games in a long relief, avoid high leverage role, and did a little bit better than Yorkin did, but much smaller sample size. And then he was only okay in AAA, back-to-back seasons being okay in AAA. He hasn't really developed into the guy that we thought he would be when we took him in the first round, but still ranked pretty highly as a prospect, and still useful to keep around as a lefty, high leader, adaptability guy. While on the hitting side of things, if we sort by wins above replacement, James Wood did end up overtaking Luis Hernandez, and so did Angel Feliz, but we had 3 players with 5+ wins above replacement on the Nationals this season. When it came to the bats, James Wood with a 6.4 wins, a 161 WRC plus, 45 doubles, 34 home runs, 101 ribbies, and 101 runs scored. Walks a ton, strikes out less than 26.9 K percentage, 21 swipe bags, not the greatest rate. Also is not a good defender this year. -3. I saw this at one point up to a -5, but the arm was fantastic in right field. I mean, he was gunning down runners constantly with that 60 grade arm, but the range, not so much. But, we'll take the strong arm and the power bat in a corner outfield spot, especially since Sirota is still patrolling center field at a very solid rate for us. So James Wood, really, really good season for him once again. Angel Feliz ended up figuring things out towards the end of the season and put together a 6-win year, 118 WRC plus, 21 doubles, 22 home runs as our shortstop. I mean, he swiped 32 bags at a 94% rate with the 20 doubles and the 20 home runs. I mean, just a phenomenal player for us. And then put together a 7 ZR at the shortstop position. I mean, what can you say? He is fantastic. And then we had Luis Hernandez with a real breakout season for us last year. The last couple of years, mainly just kind of a glove who puts around like a round league average bat. This year, really good glove, plus a really good bat, ticked up to 26 home runs. Really, really good player. Love to see it. He put up a 11 ZR at third base. I'd be hard-pressed to imagine someone putting up a better ZR at third base. He'll probably get the gold glove at that position if I had to guess, but we shall see. And then we had Ronnie Cruz, 4 wins at the second base position, or I guess second base against righties, left field against lefties, where 4 wins, playing 2 different positions, above league average WRC plus, 33 doubles, 19 swipe bags. We will absolutely take it. He was a solid player at second base and in left field, so just really good versatility, solid player. Ronnie Cruz, we love it. And then Harry Ford put together a 4-win season at 113 WRC plus, 20 doubles, only 12 home runs, 17 swipe bags. Wasn't his best season, but he's steady Eddie. He does what he does. He puts up, basically a 4 WAR every single season, and he's fantastic. What can I say? Harry Ford forever, folks. And then we have Dylan O'Ray, who was really good for us. I was not expecting the Dylan Ray in left field experiment to be, or Dylan O'Ray, rather, experiment to be this good. But it was. 3-win player, almost 3.5, basically, 131 WRC plus, 32 doubles, even 10 home runs with his 40 power. Swiped 16 bags. Would have liked to see a bit of a higher rate than that, but doesn't strike out, walks a bunch, gets on base. He was actually leading off for us against righties down the stretch, so we'll see if that's what he ends up in the playoffs, but he was really good and ended up being serviceable enough in left field to where he wasn't a total nothing out there, and we like it. So Dylan O'Ray, solid player for us. And then Jerry Harris, we talked about him at the plate, 149 WRC plus, 17 doubles, 16 home runs, and 3 wins, even with missing a bunch of time with a very severe sprained ankle that took him out for 8 to 9 weeks. So you can imagine what the numbers would have looked like if you didn't miss 9 weeks on the season. But he did, and right now he's on fire heading into the playoffs. And then Brady Ebel put together his first full campaign in the big leagues with a 2-win season, above league average, WRC plus, 34 doubles, 12 home runs. The power numbers aren't quite there yet, but with some of the hard hit rates that he's getting and whatnot, and the power potential, I'm confident it's going to start filling in here, and he turns into a true cleanup type hitter for us as a first baseman. But right now, excited to see what he is in the playoffs for us. And then we had Jet Williams, who was good as a bench player, played against lefties as well. Almost a 2-win season. I mean, 2 if you round up. 127 WRC plus, 26 doubles. Solid player. Not a good defender, really, at all. But, serviceable enough to where... I shouldn't say even serviceable. He's just a bad defender, but useful of a player enough to have around on the bench for us, especially as a leader. And then Zahir Hope ended up picking it up towards the end of the 4th outfielder, ended the year on fire, puts together another triple-digit WRC plus season. He's been a solid player for us. Last year was a starter. He's been a 4th outfielder. Now he's back to being a 4th outfielder this year, and was really good. I mean, a 99th percentile barrel rates, hard hit rate, slugging, average exit velo. I mean, it hits the ball really hard. So Zahir Hope, really fantastic 4th outfielder. And then Mike Sirota, really, really dreadful start to the season. We look at his splits once again. April, May, June, terrible. Tore the cover off the ball in July. And then August, September was not good. So overall, just not a good offensive season for Mike Sirota, but he's our best center fielder. And put together a 5.8 CR. Maybe in the playoffs, I'd look to possibly have Zahir Hope play center field for us, because technically Sirota's a 65, and then Zahir Hope is a 60, so it wouldn't be like a huge drop-off, so I might look to do that against right-handed pitching, and then just have Sirota play against left-handed pitching in center field, but that's we'll tackle that when we get to that point for the playoffs. And then as far as the rest of the guys go, Bryce Harper came over from the deadline, was not great for us, 84 WRC plus. Wasn't good against, or he actually was good. He played against lefties mainly, was good against lefties. For whatever reason, didn't hit against righties. But, he's a veteran player, interesting player to have on the bench. Obviously, he's back in Washington, so it's a big whole storyline. And maybe we can win Bryce Harper a World Series here in Washington. And then Rich Leno, horrible backup catcher. Melvin Jimenez is definitely the number 2 catcher at this point. And then we also called up Nick Monaster for an extra utility guy to have down the stretch, and he, barely played, didn't really do anything. But he was really good in AAA for another season for us down in Rochester. And now quickly taking a look at some of the stats around Major League Baseball this season. Your batting average leader in the National League was Carlos Betanzos of the Chicago Cubs. 23-year-old, scouting discovery. This is his 3rd season in the big leagues, but really, I guess broke out last year, but this year leads the league in average. He did last year too, and then he leads the league in doubles this year as well with 50. And swiped 31 bags at a horrible rate. But yeah, first baseman, Carlos Betanzos. And then in the American League, it was Elijah Dean, who's just kind of like a slap hitter who runs a really high BABIP, I guess. 323 average, leads the American League. And then the home run leader was Quinn Holm. I mean, this guy continues to just be absurd. 67, 71, and 62 home runs. And all 3 of these years, he was the first guy where, the second guy had, 20 less than him or, 15 less than him, every single season. So, don't know what he's doing over there, but drug test this man with the Brady Anderson sideburns. And then not really familiar with this Cook guy, Matt Cook, 26 years old. 6th round pick in 2028. I guess he came up last year at Tampa Bay, played a little bit, was really good. This was his first full season, 47 home runs. So Tampa Bay has themselves a like a Dan Uggla type at second base, I guess. Also played center field for them for some reason. But I mean, Dan Uggla was never this great defensively at second base, so even better than Dan Uggla, but some serious power and gap power for Matt Cook. And then RBI, you got James Wood on this list, Kobe Mayo with 141 ribbies to go along with his 47 home runs with the Baltimore Orioles. Wins above replacement, the National League leader was Matt Wentz of the Marlins, who we know about because he's been back-to-back seasons of just insane numbers. And then it was Elly De La Cruz behind him with another 8-win season. Another National League guy, the first American League guy, was Quentin Young of the Minnesota Twins. He just broke out this year with a 6.9 win season with 152 WRC plus. Crazy good player for them. The stolen base leader, we got two guys with 70s, Donovan Marion and Elly De La Cruz. Donovan Marion on the Brewers is a crazy center fielder. Yeah, center fielder who probably should be a corner outfielder, but they're playing him in center field. He's a crazy good bat. Should definitely be a left or right fielder for them. But he went 1-1 in a Stony Brook to them in 2030, and now he's up in the big leagues, back-to-back seasons of 5 wins. He's a crazy player. James Wood over there in the OPS leaders, 4th. Do we have any other players on here? Betanzos had 200 hits, the only one in Major League Baseball. Gunnar Henderson leads the league in runs scored with Kobe Mayo behind him. Definitely do not look up Gunnar Henderson's high school. The doubles leader was Betanzos with Waymire, and then James Wood behind him with 45. Ronnie Cruz had 7 triples, which was among the league leaders in Major League Baseball. James Wood also total bases, OBP, slugging, ISO, OPS plus, and WOBA. So just all over the place, James Wood. And then on the pitching side of things, your ERA leader was Rodolfo De La Torre, a closer. I guess he's closing right now for some reason. Did they make the playoffs? No. Well, I don't know why this guy is closing for them, but he started all year long for them. Now he's listed as a closer and was just a crazy starter. Back-to-back seasons of 5 wins for the A's. And then over on the American League side of things, it was Robbie Snelling, who had another great season after putting up a 6 WAR last year. He was a runner-up for the Cy Young. Your strikeout leader was Chase Burns. The WAR leader in the American League, or the National League, was Antonio Ortiz of the Atlanta Braves out of Oklahoma State. Former 2nd overall pick in 2030, puts together a 6-win season. And then over on the American League side of things, it was Rodolfo De La Torre, who's probably going to win the Cy Young as a crazy 2-pitch guy for the A's. Out of Western Carolina, the saves leader was Alex Rosario. Matamoros did not end up on this list, but look who did. Ben Gardenhire, folks. Both guys we gave the Giants ended up being really good players. Gardenhire was their closer, had 46 saves, was really good in their bullpen for them. And then the other player we gave them, Travis Sikora, I guess we should just go here. Travis Sikora put together a 3.5 win season in the rotation. Where was this? It's not like we never gave him a chance. He just never showed it. But for whatever reason, goes to San Francisco and just puts it together and ends up being a really good player. So, I mean, honestly, you might be able to say they won the trade. It just kind of depends on what Brady Ebel does if the power develops for him. But right now, you know, they're looking pretty good with those guys, Gardenhire and Sikora. Did they make the playoffs? They did not. They went below 500 with a minus 104 run differential. So, you know, even with those guys, they were still a bad team. But Ben Gardenhire and Travis Sikora finally figuring it out here with a different organization. Dax Hardcastle had the 3rd highest R-WAR on the season. That's pretty crazy stuff. And then, we had some couple of relievers here. Shutdowns, Evan Hollick. Holds, Evan Hollick. And that was it. And then when it comes to the fielding leaders, any of our guys popping up here. ZR, Luis Hernandez as a 3rd baseman with the 6th highest ZR at 12.0. We also had Harry Ford with the highest runners thrown out percentage in Major League Baseball and the best catchers earned run average in Major League Baseball. Just I mean, the heart and soul of the team, folks. He's incredible. And then taking a look at the streaks page, Luis Hernandez apparently had 4 home runs in a row in games. Rodemaker had 16 straight starts where he was undefeated. On base streak, Feliz had 28 games in a row. Andy Pajes had 42, and so did Matt Wentz. Quality start streak, Jerry Harris. Apparently this is still going on. He's had 5 straight quality starts. Miguel Cime Jr. had the 21 straight scoreless appearances, and this Brian King guy had 20. Or it's Brian King. I know who Brian King is. Had 28. Still pitching at. What just happened? I lost my place on the. Here we go. Scoreless streak. Brian King still pitching at age 35, almost 36 here for Cincinnati. So yeah, now back to this page. And consecutive stolen bases. Angel Feliz apparently still hasn't been caught for 27 straight times. We also have hitless innings. Bobby Matamoros had 11 straight hitless innings. But taking a look at the playoff tree here, your bye teams in the National League are the Nationals and the Cubs, with the Brewers, Mets, Pirates, and Dodgers as your wildcard teams. Well, over on the American League side of things, it's the Orioles and the Los Angeles Angels as your bye teams, and then the Yankees, Blue Jays, Rangers, and Twins are your wildcard teams.